Ciao tutti, Jeanne Allen here from the Center for Education Reform in Ercolano, Italy, outside Naples, Napoli, overlooking the Bay of Naples with Vesuvius to our left or right, depending what you're looking. Students, friends, parents, educators, advocates. We've spent a day and a half discussing how we all come together across these two countries and ensure that every child has access to the future and that every child, wherever they live, can actually have the kinds of lessons that we can open up anywhere now because of technology. And I'm so delighted and pleased that I can introduce to you one of our star speakers for the festival, Marco Cappellini, trained as an electrical engineer, has been directing projects for the country in culture and technology, and now leads an effort to ensure that we can bring the art of Italia and museums across the world live virtually, is going to take us through a lesson live here today. Marco, grazie.
Thanks a lot, Jeanne. Great introduction, and very welcome to speak in, first of all, in this wonderful place. We are in, as Jeanne said, in Ercolano, and we have the sea. The weather is fantastic. So the first thing that I have to do, that you have to come here when you will be able to do in your life. It's a fantastic place. And regarding this place, we are just a few kilometers from Vesuvio, which is on my right side, and perhaps later you will see, or you are seeing, the camera is moving in that direction. And in 79 after Christ, there has been the eruption you know about, and we have this situation that in two sites, in Pompeii and in Ercolano, we have a completely different situation because of a different agents that affected the two sites in two different ways. In the case of Pompeii, you have ashes and lapilli, which has covered the site for meters and have destroyed a lot of a site. In case of Ercolano, you have a completely different situation. You have like 20 meters of mud that have completely covered the site and conserved it, because and this is because this is why it's very useful to experience both the sites to understand these different effects and see the difference of the conservation and the beauty that you can find in these two sites, and that let you bring to an understanding on what was the life of Romans in those years. And this is a unique experience that you can do in Italy. As you probably know, Vesuvio is one of the two only active volcanoes in Europe, so it's also a risky business to be here in some sense. And so it's a particular, very unique experience that you can do. Nowadays, you cannot do in a physical way, so it's very difficult to move. And our idea as a company, as Jeanne has told you in the introduction, is to try to bring Italian art and culture through digital technologies to the education market. We have started our activity a lot of years ago in 1999 with basically two things. One has been to digitize works of art at a very high level of resolution, and we started with a very famous museum in Italy. It is called Uffizi Galleries. You probably know it. And at the same time, we have started developing software that can enable the fruition of this kind of high-res digitization to be appreciated through computers and then smartphones, tablets, whiteboards, and any kind of interactive device. And year after year, we have experienced how this kind of fruition of art is beneficial for people, not only students and teachers, but all kind of people. And so in 2015, after some experiences that we have had also in China with some exhibitions, we have decided to establish also another company, which is a startup spin-off of Centrica, and the name of the company is Virtue Italy. And Virtue Italy means a lot of things. First thing is that it is a trial to bring Italian virtues in a digital format worldwide. And at the same time, it is the anagram of virtuality. So if you see Virtue Italy, it's the anagram of virtuality, and this idea of using VR, AR, mixed reality, any kind of digital technology to bring art worldwide is inside this name. So the name in this case is really important. And with Virtue Italy, we have brought a couple of digital exhibitions first in Milan, in Italy, so close to Florence, Uffizi Virtual Experience. And then we have brought another exhibition called the Renaissance Experience in the audio is back again, and also in China. These exhibitions are immersive and interactive exhibitions, which means that people are inside a very big space with a lot of projectors, interactive technologies, and so on. And that space that is a space that is not a cultural space become a cultural space, an art space, because of these technologies, these digital technologies that we bring inside. And this kind of experience is more and more valuable for all kind of people to have basically an edutainment experience. So from one side, people are excited by this all big screens, big projections, the possibility to interact, to zoom in a detail of a work of art, and so on. So it is the entertainment part. But at the same time, this kind of engagement of people bring people to inform more on the works of art, understand more, compare. And so it's an experience that is a cultural experience that has also another benefit that we have seen also in the comments of visitors of these experiences. And the other value is that it is a way to promote a cultural site, because for example, in Milan, we have had many comments from the people where they wrote, now that I've seen these works of art, now I want to go to Florence. And as you probably know, Florence and Milan are not so far, but in many cases you have something that is close to you, but you do not go to the museum, or you do not experience an artistic place because you do not know it. And so in this way you can bring the knowledge of a cultural collection like Uffizi and motivate people to go there. So this is another important fact. And after this experience, and also with the acceleration created by COVID-19, we have decided to develop a product called Artscentica that want to bring art in schools, in whiteboards, in many kind of the devices of students and teachers, so in smartphones and tablets and so on. And Artscentica nowadays is a combination of technology and content. Inside the application, we have all Uffizi Gallery's works of art, or at least the most famous, more than 1,150 works of art. And at the same time, we have brought inside also a selection of works of art from Brera Museum, which is another famous museum in Milan. And our desire is to enlarge the number of museums inside the product, and at the same time improve more and more the functionalities that are present. For example, now you can zoom in any of these works of art with very high resolution. You can see details, 1 centimeter of a masterpiece of some meter, or you can compare Botticelli and Leonardo da Vinci, or you can highlight all the works of art that contain a specific object that you are interested in, for example, a jewel or a landscape or a gesture of, for example, of angel in Annunciation. And inside the application, there are also many lessons that are ready for be used for several cycles from primary school to high school. And so we are trying to build something that is both content and technology as a service to reach schools worldwide. I would like to highlight also which is the business model behind, because I think that it's an interesting aspect to understand. We try to have a direct relation with museums, so to have museums as partners. And for all the revenues that we create with the application, we provide 30% of the revenues directly to museums. I think that cultural sites, collection, museums have great problems in this period because of the COVID, because many of their business model were based on physical ticketing, and now ticketing has dropped of 70–80%. So they must find also other ways to create and monetize their content. And we are very happy to partner with these museums to help them in monetization, and at the same time provide a better service to schools and universities to provide this kind of content in a new way, to have a new experience with art in classroom. I would like to go back now to this wonderful site, and also to Ercolano and the sea, to introduce to you other concepts. First one is that in many cases, like in Ercolano or Pompeii or in any other archaeological site, you have the help of two basic technologies. One is augmented reality to highlight and illustrate to you directly with your smartphone what you are seeing, and to understand better, because many times in archaeological site, if you're not in archaeology, it's not so easy to understand everything. At the same time, virtual reality can be very effective in recreating what is the reality 2,000 years ago, to understand the colors, the structures, also the civil, the inhabitants, the costumes, and many more aspects of what was the life of the past. And we are moving just in the direction of Ercolano in a while. And this kind of activity are activities that need a lot knowledge, different skills. This means that these products and these activities create a need of high-skilled people, and this means that can create also the opportunity for new industries, new creative industries to develop work and to develop a more creative and also ethical society. I think that this is another aspect that, for example, in Italy, we can try to develop more this kind of activities and companies. It is perhaps not so fascinating, for example, for investors as blockchain or other kind of technology, but it has more return of investment in the long time, and it has an ethical return of investment, which I think it's very important. The other aspect that I would like to highlight is that it is not only a matter of reproduction of media, but it is a matter of connecting knowledge to the high quality of representation of media, so that people, students and teachers can be really engaged by the experience with an application. And become more and more important, and has become also more understandable for everyone in this period where we have been all obliged to be through the application that is on the screens must be engaging. So this aspect of connecting knowledge with media and software and technology introduce another opportunity for all the humanistic trained students that we have in Italy and worldwide that can contribute with their knowledge to this new kind of products. So it's really a renaissance, and I'm really happy that I have had the opportunity to express these thoughts in this wonderful location. Just a comment is related to the beauty, the art, the traditions, culture, and how especially in Italy these elements are connected with food, with wine, with traditions. So I'm speaking like an Italian now, and I think that if as Italian we will be able to express these connections between art, culture, food, fashion, lifestyle, language, if we will be able to express through digital technologies in the good way this kind of values, we can bring really a renaissance worldwide, like we have done in the past, in the 16th centuries from Florence. I'm from Florence, and so I'm really proud to be here and say these things. Thank you again, Jeanne, for the opportunity.
You're welcome, Marco. Thank you. And we want to ask a few questions from people who are with us today. So first, are there always clouds over Vesuvius, or is that something else?
No, I mean, nowadays, now there are these clouds, but as I've told before, Vesuvio is an active volcano, so there is something inside that is risky. We hope that it will remain in the deep earth, so we will not have problem, but it's also a fascinating thing that it's still active.
And why is this significant? Why, what does it tell us? What did we learn about civilization by excavating, and how did they find these civilizations? You mentioned earlier that unlike Pompeii, which was destroyed, Ercolano was saved, and there's excavations going on even now around us. Why are these things significant for students and especially children?
First thing is that Ercolano is already not completely unveiled, because in the premises of Ercolano archaeological site there are houses that are with people, so it's impossible to excavate everything. Second thing is that it's important to do this excavation, because any piece of the ancient building or the ancient objects that people used in 2000 years ago can be interesting to understand better, and to compare, for example, with other objects that are present in other museums or in other collection. And so it is a contribution to the global knowledge of the life of past people, and understanding how was the life in the past. We understand better also which must pursue in these days, especially in these days of pandemic problems that have brought more awareness in each one of us on what are the important things and what are the less important. Understood that knowledge and education are fundamental to create better people, and also to diminish the problems with different continents. I think education and can bring something that create more awareness in people on what is important and not, and at the same time create the opportunity of a better dialogue between people, so an intercultural dialogue.
Well, and we've seen through your pictures and some of the videos yesterday how people lived, as you said, and the way they built structures. In fact, some of the original arches that we use today were created from ancient civilizations. We've seen schools, uncovered schools, where we know how students sat. And how does someone, maybe there's someone young out there and they're interested in archaeology, is it possible to go into a career where I would love this, we do nothing but uncover history, and you can see the art and the ruins and the structures and the tools they used and how they ate? Is there ways to do that and live in a beautiful place like this?
If it is possible to have only that kind of life, what I suggest to do is to try to understand how to fit of knowledge and activity with something that can be interesting for all the people, because many times, especially in the past, we have had this situation where you have some people which are very trained in specific areas, for example, archaeology or also art history, but that are unable to communicate their knowledge to a broader amount of people, and this is because everything in little circles. So my suggestion is that for young girl or young boy that want to do excavation, to try to understand what can be the value of those excavations for all the other people worldwide.
Final couple of questions. Is the mic working? Okay. How deep was Ercolano buried, and how was? And then there's a 6th grade class watching in the West Coast. Mr. Winston, 6th grade. So hello, Mr. Winston, 6th grade class on the West Coast. They've just read The Dog of Pompeii. Does that, the dog of Pompeii, resemble the area correctly? And can you also correct the pronunciation of Herculaneum? I think we have to move this way so the mic keeps going. Herculaneum for English speakers, is it Herculaneum as opposed to? Excuse us. Technology-wise, there we go. Herculaneum for English. Okay, so Dog of Pompeii, true or not true? And how deep was Ercolano buried?
I start from the second, which I know the answer is like 20 meters of mud buried Ercolano. And regarding the Dog of Pompeii, I have not the answer. So to study.
So I do have the answer because I saw it in Pompeii. There is there when the volcano erupted, and people, animals were basically conserved in motion. And the Dog of Pompeii is actually on location in. See it. Okay, and then how was Ercolano founded, though? Was it during the building of back in World War II, the building of many different buildings during the war?
And when? How was it uncovered? The first studies of started in 18th century, and I do not remember when it has been uncovered also in recent years they are working for uncovering. It's a continuous work.
It's all go study that if you're in school. Joining us live from Ercolano, thank you, Mr. Cappellini, and please stay with us for the rest of the U.S. Italia Innovation Festival. Ciao.